What's going on? It's your boy Sermon, at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. DMX made history in 1998 by releasing not one, but two #1 albums in the same year. At the time, it was really unheard of. The only other artist who put out two albums in the same year was Tupac in 1996. So other than that, this idea was just so far-fetched. In those days, you could put out an album and ride it out for 2 or 3 years. You would tour, you were getting a lot more rap money from your album than you do now. Everybody was going platinum back then, so you had someone like DMX who came into the game red hot, signed to Def Jam, and really took off. So unlike most artists, DMX felt like putting out two albums in the same year. So right after his debut album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, which is multi-platinum at this point, he went back to work and put out his sophomore album, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, on December 22nd, 1998. Many wondered why he would do this. And up until recently, there really wasn't an answer. There was nothing on the internet that said this is why DMX decided to do that. Maybe there really was no reason. Maybe DMX just felt like he was in the zone and everybody around him encouraged him to drop this album. Actually, there is a reason. There is motivation behind putting out a second album. The Fader recently put up the oral history of the album. It's a great read. I'm going to include a link in the description so you can check it out. I highly advise it. The motivation came from Leor Cohen and money. DMX said, Leor said, if I could do another album in 30 days, I'd get $1 million bonus. That was the whole drive. So it's as simple as that. Who doesn't want to make $1 million? And DMX was really in the right space to do such a thing, to put out another album, because later on in the article, him and his team are talking about how a lot of the music that's on Flesh of My Flesh was left over from his debut album. So these are songs that didn't make the first album, and instead of recording a whole new set of music, they just decided to kind of redo some of these songs. To what extent, it really wasn't like specified, so you don't know what the original sounded like versus what's on the album. Interesting enough, DMX felt like he was cheating his fans by giving them a smaller album. It's Dark and Hell is Hot has 19 songs, Flesh of My Flesh only has 16. It's not that big of a difference though. I'm sure in the mind of DMX, he wanted to capitalize, and so putting out more music is something on his mind, but at the same time, you don't judge a classic by how many tracks are on it. That's why Flesh of My Flesh is considered a classic. It's Dark and Hell is Hot is considered a classic. They're not considered classic because of how many songs they had. It's because of the quality that it brought. The toughest part about making the album was mixing and mastering. At the time, it would take about 8 hours to mix one song, and that's if they didn't mess up. They'd be spending a couple days on songs, so that's really what took up a lot of the time. I won't get into everything that's talked about in the piece because I do want you to go check it out. It's a great piece of journalism. I love oral histories because they provide you with the knowledge that you never would have otherwise. Nowadays, releasing multiple albums in a year is common. For that simple fact, there will never be another DMX story. It doesn't matter if someone puts out two critically acclaimed #1 albums in the same year because it's been done. DMX was somebody who, he did it big. Tupac did it first, yes, but most people associate DMX with it. He just did it on a bigger scale than what Tupac did. Not to say that Tupac shouldn't get credit, but DMX in 1998 is one of the best hip-hop success stories ever. DMX was able to capitalize off his buzz in a way that paid off for everybody, not just DMX, but for Rough Riders Entertainment, for the artists that were underneath the label, for everybody at Def Jam, for Leor, for Irv Gotti, for Dame Grease, Swizz Beatz, everybody involved. So that's why I regard it as such a huge success story in hip-hop. It was just a great time, and DMX really solidified his legacy with those two albums. So like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video, follow me on Twitter at Sermon's Domain, and as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching, and until next time, peace.